God's children not going to be very pleased with that, are they? And if you just serve others, and you just serve yourself, that's okay, that's charity work. But at the end of the day, everyone is linked to God. When you water a plant, you don't water the leaf, you don't water the stem, you water the root. God is that root. Once you worship and serve God, then everybody else gets benefited. So can you see these three things? This is bhakti. These are the three things. Serving yourself, serving others, and serving God. All in one. Not one or two. Has to be all three. So this is bhakti. So one way to think of bhakti is A, B, C, D, E. That's a formulaic way of thinking about it, if you're putting numbers on it. But another way to see it, there's two ways of thinking about bhakti. There is a formulaic way of thinking about it, like a maths problem. You do this, then this outcome will come. If this is lacking, then you have to work on that. Another way is the emotional approach. What does that mean? So we can either go through the emotions, or we can either go through the formula, or we can go through the emotional approach of just, let me just serve God. Let me just build my relationship with God. If we have that kind of mentality, that kind of meditation, then that is also another way. So there's one way, the formulaic, and one way, the emotional. If we serve, we can do it through the formulaic way, but unless we have the intention, that emotional intention, let me just serve God, let me just spend time with God, then it's also a very nice way that many people will go. Like for example, this water, for me to drink this water, there can either be a direct way or a formulaic way. But, you have some prashadam? Okay. Always. So how do we drink water? Do you have to think, I'm doing this, I have to put my hand down, I have to put my hand up, I have to hold the water tight, I have to hold it up, take this off, hold it up, bring it up, then drink. Do I have to think, I should close the back of my throat so it comes in? Do I need to think that it shouldn't go in my esophagus? It shouldn't go in my lungs? No, it just happens. The intention is, I just need to drink water, so you just drink it. It's never thinking, let me grab the water, let me bring it up, and then, if you do something wrong, then it'll spill, So either you can think about the formulaic way, which is a basic way. A baby has to take their first steps, they have to learn how to walk. Or you can go through the direct way, or the emotional way, which is, let me just build my relationship with Krishna. That question should keep going in our mind. How do I build that relationship? And how much time are we spending with Krishna? How much time are we spending with Krishna? In our day, like we said before, how many hours of the day, how many hours of the week do we spend just trying to connect with God? Is it a Sunday feast program, 3 hours out of the week, and then the rest of the week we can go out partying, not thinking about anything? No. Anytime you can give. Anytime you can give. How much do we chant? How much? Do we do it just when we feel like it? Or do we do it, with any free time we can get, just to chant? How much do we try to learn about God? Do we do it, when we feel like it? Or do we do it for this hour of the week, where someone here in the temple rambles on, and you're forced to stay here, you have to force yourself to sit down and listen, How much do we chant? How much do we associate with the devotees? Do we see them on the Sunday and then we have an alternate life on the other week? No, you invite them, you try to have a relationship with them. What are you doing in the week? Maybe we can meet up, How much prashadam are we eating? Are we just have a nice prasadam on the Sunday, then after that, every single day, Monday to Friday, fast food, McDonald's, No, we have to try. Because if we want to build a relationship with Krishna, we just need to be eager. We just need to be eager. That enthusiasm needs to be there. If we have that enthusiasm to have a relationship with Krishna, then it will happen. It will happen. So, the title of this class, why we were talking about this, so there's the formulaic way, and then there's the emotional direct way. Unless, going back to the verse, unless we want to be in control of our life, and in control of our mind, we have to be spiritually powerful. Like we said, you have to have weapons, you have to be armed. If you're not spiritually powerful, then you'll be weaponless. The mind will take over. The mind will make you do things that you know is not right for you. So this formulaic way and this emotional way is the way to be spiritually powerful. Asking ourselves this question, how much time am I spending just for Krishna? I have a friend, they're in uni, and they live with flatmates. And if I have a call with them at the evening time, they'll usually say, I have to go now, I have to show my face and spend some time with my flatmates, just to keep, the politics of the flat, nice. It's a task of the day. I need to spend some time with my flatmates. It's a task. How many of us, in our day, or sometimes, let's say you have a family, I should probably spend time with my kids. I should probably spend time with my wife. I should probably call my mum. She's in a different country. I should probably call her so she knows I'm not forgetting her. How many of us remind ourselves, I should probably spend some time with Krishna? We don't ask that question enough. We usually think, I'll do some chanting, maybe I'll read a book, maybe I'll listen to a class, maybe I'll eat some prasadam. But we're not seeing it as this. How much are we spending time with Krishna? Once we spend that time with Krishna and build that relationship, once that relationship is a strong relationship, then we become spiritually powerful. That is the formula. You want to be spiritually powerful, we have to spend time with God. Or spend time with His divinity, like A, B, C, D, all of those ways. Just spend time doing it. Of course, we're all working, but whatever free time you have, spend time with God. Spend time with Krishna. It's not that difficult to understand. Any free time we have. You may have 2 minutes and you think, I should probably give someone a call, just so that and they know I'm talking, I'm thinking of them. We don't do that with God. We should do it. So, when one has that strong relationship with God, then they become a spiritual, I like to use the word spiritual powerhouse. They're just exuding spiritual energy. You can tell from this person. Sometimes when someone is just very spiritually knowledgeable, has been practicing spirituality for so long, they just glow, you notice them, right? They become a spiritual powerhouse because they're spending so much time with Krishna. They're really trying to develop that relationship. And once they develop that relationship, they become a spiritual powerhouse. And usually, with spiritual powerhouses, when you have a really big spiritual powerhouse, they can create other spiritual powerhouses. Anyone that has interacted with someone that is so spiritually just absorbed, sometimes the people that are around them, like we said, association, who you hang around with, it usually rubs off on you. Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, He went to America by himself, not knowing a single person, with no resources, but because he was a spiritual powerhouse. This entire revolution, spiritual revolution, spread across the world. Can you imagine how spiritually powerful you have to be? You know? How spiritually powerful we have to be. And I thought to end maybe the last 15, 20 minutes of the class, we can talk about, one really big spiritual powerhouse in the last 100 years, 150 years of this Hare Krishna movement was Srila Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. On Monday that we just passed, it was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disappearance day. Disappearance day, right? Disappearance day. You know. Often we think sometimes, it's slightly strange, we celebrate birthdays, but no one celebrates, disappearance days. But for spiritual powerhouses and spiritually, historical, powerful figures, you celebrate them because they go back to Krishna. So Bhaktisiddhanta was such a spiritual power. Actually, just think about this. If Srila Prabhupada was such a spiritual powerhouse that he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, can you imagine which powerhouse powered Srila Prabhupada? Can you imagine that level of spiritual potency? That was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So if you see in our parampara, if you see in Prabhupada's quarters, on his left we have a big picture of his guru. That's Bhaktisiddhanta. That's Srila Prabhupada's guru. And what a devotee. What a powerhouse of Krishna. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was born in the late 19th century in a place called Jagannath Puri. His father, if you look at our parampara as well, was a person called Bhaktivinoda Thakur, also a huge spiritual powerhouse. Huge spiritual powerhouse. And his father, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, was, I would say, one of the first people after Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to start a spiritual revolution. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world, most of the devotees in the lineage, after the few hundred years, they became what you call Babajis. Most of them. Nobody was actively trying to spread the word of God or spreading the word how to love and know God. What they were doing, so some context, in the Vedic traditions of life, there are five kind of ashrams that you go through in life. First one is a brahmachari. Brahmachari is basically a student. In the first, let's say, 20 years of your life, you are meant to learn, because that is when you learn best. After 30 or 40, it's not so easy to learn. I'm not speaking from experience. But it's not so easy to learn, But you absorb more when you're a child. When you're a child, your brain is naturally just absorbing like a sponge. So when you're from 0 to 20, 4 or 5 to 20, you are a brahmachari, so you learn. And then after that, usually, with family life starts. So you should get married. You've learnt, now you have to go off in the world, start your own family. And that's called a grahastha. You're a family man. Now, you can stay like this for the rest of your life. It's optional as well. But if you want to go deeper into your spiritual life, there is something called a vanaprastha, which is basically the retired stage of your life. You're still married, but both father and mother, you're focusing on your spiritual lives a little bit more individually. You're still married, but you're focusing on your own. And then, if you really want to go, much deeper, then there's a thing called sannyas, which is complete renunciation. You leave family life. And you go around. Sannyasis are meant to never stay in one place. They're always moving. And they go from place to place, just trying to teach people, about loving Krishna, loving God. This is a sannyasi. And there is one more. Maybe all of you have only heard of brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. There's one more nobody talks about. There's also optional. There's a thing called Babaji ashram. This is where, instead of going out somewhere and going to the different place, going to the people, it is a ashram where you stay in a holy place and you just become spiritually powerful. Of course, all other ashrams, it's completely possible to do that as much as possible. But this is where you focus on nothing else. You don't even travel. You just stay in one place and you just focus on becoming spiritually powerful. And then people come to you. If people are interested, they come to you and they learn. So sannyasi goes to the people, Babaji stays, and the people come to them. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, he was a sannyasi. He was a sannyasi and he was going everywhere. He went across the entirety of India on foot, preaching and spreading the message of God. But after he left this world, most of the disciples in the lineage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became Babajis and they just stayed. So nobody was really, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this Krishna conscious movement, this Hare Krishna movement, will go to every town and village. Everybody will be chanting, dancing, feasting, having a nice time, you know. But if we just stay in one place, where will it go? You know. So for a few hundred years, there was mostly just a big monopoly of Babajis. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was one of the first revolutionaries that said, we have to start going out, we have to change our direction. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was one of the first, some context, oh God, we have not much time, but we have, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first person to send Gaudiya or proper Vedic literature to the Western world. If you go to, I think it was a university in America, I can't remember if it was Harvard or not, but if you go to their library, they still have, from the 19th century, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent a book, The Life and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya, for everyone to start learning. So there was a seed of devotion that was sent to America. And Bhaktisiddhanta was his son. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had around 10 children. And he was praying that I'm old now, I'm working, I don't have enough time to go everywhere, you know, and spread this message and really make this revolution go on fire and spread like wildfire. So I'm praying, one of my children, please, praying to Krishna, please, one of my children should be a spiritually powerful individual. You know, they should build themselves up to be a spiritually powerful individual and really revolutionize this movement. And Bhaktisiddhanta was born. He was born in Jagannath Puri. Now, Bhaktisiddhanta, usually with spiritually powerful individuals, it builds up over time, but for the really special cases, you see some symptoms of this powerful nature when they're a child. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he was 5 years old, he ate a mango in his home. And his father, after noticing that he ate the mango, he very lightly told him off, saying, oh, that was first, in our tradition, you're supposed to offer food to Krishna first, and then we eat it. You know, we want to serve Krishna first, and then we take the remnants. So Bhaktisiddhanta, at the age of 5 years old, he took this so seriously that he said, I vow for the rest of my life I'll never eat a mango again. Can you imagine a 5-year-old child? You know, king of fruits, mango, most tasty fruit. You know, in India there's a whole season dedicated it's called mango season, where the mangoes are growing like anything, you just eat as many mangoes as possible because they're so delicious. I vowed I'm never going to eat a mango again in my entire life. You know, and he did it. When Bhaktisiddhanta was 7 years old, he memorized the entirety of the Bhagavad-Gita, this thick, massive book that we're reading from. At 7 years old, he memorized every single verse of the Gita and could commentate on each verse. You know, sometimes people, they just memorize the verses and they just, spit it out, but no one knows the meaning. He could tell you the meaning of every single verse. 7 years old. When he was in school, he stressed on reading this Vedic scriptures so much that when he was in school, he used to get in trouble because he wasn't reading the textbooks. He was reading the scriptures. And the teachers would tell him off. There's a famous incident in his high school, when he was in high school or primary school, I don't know, where his teacher found him in the lesson, I think it was a chemistry lesson, and instead of reading from the chemistry textbook, Bhaktisiddhanta, in the middle of the teacher teaching in the classroom, was reading the Bhagavatam, Vedic scripture. And this teacher just had it, because Bhaktisiddhanta was doing this all the time. So he tried to humiliate Bhaktisiddhanta. He said, come to the front of the classroom. I'm going to ask you, you're understanding everything we're teaching, right? He said, yeah, I understand everything. So he told him, okay, you explained this point that we discussed last week, Actually, this point, they never taught it yet. It's for the next year, you're supposed to learn. It was more advanced chemistry. So, okay, explain this point of chemistry. And Bhaktisiddhanta, like he'd been studying chemistry in university, just gave the answer. And the teacher was scratching their head. How's he done that? So he was so knowledgeable, that he could even, he was teaching the teachers, Actually, if you look later in his life, that same teacher, when Bhaktisiddhanta was older, that same teacher became Bhaktisiddhanta's disciple. Can you imagine the level of spiritual power? He was teaching Bhaktisiddhanta in school, but Bhaktisiddhanta was so advanced that when Bhaktisiddhanta grew up, he became his disciple. That was his guru. So anyways, he was an expert in Vedic philosophy. When he got older, he was still doing his studies, he was helping his father. His father every single day was writing on Vedic philosophy, Vedic commentaries on everything, poems, to understand Vedanta, Vedic scriptures. And Bhaktisiddhanta was helping his dad publish and distribute these kind of books. And later in his life, then it was time for Bhaktisiddhanta to choose a guru. So in your life, there's a special point in your life. They say you're born twice. You're born from your parents, and your second birth is from your spiritual awakening when you accept a guru in your life. When you've accepted a guru, that is your second birth. You're reborn. So it was time for Bhaktisiddhanta. He'd learned, he was a brahmachari, but now he needs to accept a guru. And his father recommended him to this. You see on our parampara, person next to Bhaktisiddhanta, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, who was a Babaji, but such a transcendentally eccentric, powerful devotee. Such a level of humility. Okay, I'll say this point. He's a very deep devotee. When he was coming to the end of his life, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, he said, they asked him, what do you want us to do after you leave your body? What do you want us to do with your body? He said, when I leave my body, please drag my body across the dust and the floor of Mayapur, Navadvip. Drag my body. Because if you do that, I'll be bathing in at least just the dust of all of the devotees and spiritual powerhouses who have walked there. This is the level of humility Gaur Kishore Das Babaji had. Never thinking himself too puffed up, or I'm the guru, Actually, there's a huge other story of Bhaktisiddhanta had to fight, not physically, but he had to fight with Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Please accept me as your disciple. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji thought himself he was so humble. He said, I cannot become anyone's guru, But after a long fight, Bhaktisiddhanta became Gaur Kishore Das Babaji's sole and only disciple. He only accepted Bhaktisiddhanta. So this is the level of guru-disciple relationship they had. There's much deeper things we can talk about. You understand the level of humility of his guru. So like we said, spiritual powerhouse, they make other spiritual powerhouses. Prabhupada was a spiritual powerhouse. He was powered by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Even bigger powerhouse. And Bhaktisiddhanta was powered by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Can you imagine the level of purity? The level of spiritual purity that was going on. So this is our line, this is our lineage of teachers, of acharyas. And then it came, I think Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj left his body. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also left his body. And now, Bhaktisiddhanta had finished his student life as a student. He said, right, my father wanted the revolution to go ahead. Now we need to do it. Now the time comes where we have to start spreading Krishna consciousness. But to start, before he started, you know what he did? In the year, there are usually a few months that are usually said to be more spiritual than others. So when you do spiritual activities in these months, then it creates more benefit for ourselves. It's like times 10, times 20, whatever. So during the months of Chaturmas, which is a special 4 months in the second half of the year, it is said to be a very spiritually potent few months. So during this time, Bhaktisiddhanta said, okay, I need to spiritually empower myself now if I want to carry out this mission. I cannot do it without being spiritually powerful. So he went to Mayapur, the holy place of Mayapur, and there he had the vow for this Chaturmas, these 4 months, I will sit in Mayapur and I will chant 300,000 names of Krishna every day. I will do nothing else than that. 300,000 names of Krishna every day for 4 months. We said the chanting process was the most powerful of them all, out of the ABCDs, and he was doing this much. He made the vow, cut out all responsibilities. So he knew for those 4 months, this was the time to spiritually empower himself. Even Srila Prabhupada, before he even came to America, he spent a few years in Vrindavan doing what? Spiritually empowering himself. I need to prepare. For a spiritual revolution, there needs to be preparation. So this is what Bhaktisiddhanta did. And then, once he finished that, by the way, at the time, now Mayapur is like a nice spiritual city. Back then, there was no one living there. Barely anybody. It said there were no roads. There were no cycles. They said not even a person on a bullock cart could go into Mayapur. It was that much jungle. There was that much jungle. So nobody would go there. But he went there and said, okay, this is the holy place. I will sit here for 4 months and just chant. So he spiritually empowered himself. And then he started the first stage of this spiritual revolution. He started an institution called the Gaudiya Math, which is kind of the institution which he built across India to revolutionize Krishna consciousness. Gaudiya Math, the school. Math means usually school, and Gaudiya is the tradition that we come down. So this was the first Krishna conscious institution. The first building they bought, he named Bhaktivinoda Asan, the sitting place of Bhaktivinoda. This is how much, I was saying to you at the start, we have such proper devotees. They have such a good and strong appreciation for any teacher. Any teacher. Whether it is your driving instructor, whether it is your primary school teacher. In some regiments in the army, the soldier that is leading them, usually they call them guru, purely because they're leading them in the army. If you look at the Gurkhas, the special regiment of Nepali soldiers, they're so highly respected by the British Army, by the way. They're in the British Army. There's a whole regiment for them, Gurkhas. I don't know if you've heard. they call their leading sergeants Guruji. They don't call them Lance Corporal, they say Guru, you know. They have such respect for anybody that teaches them. So even the art of warfare, the art of driving, the art of maths at school, you know, you have such respect. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur had taught Bhaktisiddhanta from his brahmachari stage everything, you know, everything. So he had such respect for him that he named that first Gaudiya Math, that first building, Bhaktivinoda Asan, the sitting place of Bhaktivinoda. You know, this is how much respect he had. And from then on, the spiritual revolution just went like wildfire. Bhaktisiddhanta was meeting all of the VIPs you could even imagine. Royalty, British royalty, Portuguese royalty, celebrities, rich people, wealthy people, everyone that you can imagine that had a position of power, he went to talk to them. And he was so educated. If you go to his books, we were talking last week after the program, if you go to some of Bhaktisiddhanta's books that he wrote and articles that he wrote, if you have been born and brought up in England, you will not understand the level of English he was speaking. It was such an eccentric, fine English. I've tried reading some of his articles. I don't understand it because it's such fine English, Victorian, posh English, you know. These were the people he was trying to connect to Krishna consciousness, give them some kind of spiritual awakening, you know. Such a level of education, such a intelligent person. And he was an unconventional preacher, you know. You know, at the time, he was criticized many times because he was going in cars everywhere. You know, a spiritual person, normally the kind of stereotype before was that a spiritual person, they should just walk everywhere. They should not have anything. But to get to a meeting with some, let's say, royalty, he'd go in a car and he got criticized for that. So he was unconventional at the time. And this is what spiritual leaders are. They're unconventional, you know. They don't just fit the stereotype, fit the box. Even Srila Prabhupada, you know. When he came to America, he was unconventional. Let's be honest, you know. In India at the time, most of the Brahmins and the priestly class, they had such a problem with a bit of prejudice going on between men and women. They were saying men were better, women weren't, you know. Prabhupada, and they wouldn't let women to be on the altar in the temples. But Prabhupada in America, let women do it, you know. You're no different. In Vedic scriptures, it says nothing. There's nothing to say that women can do that. Women can do, you know, women are less than men. So Prabhupada was unconventional in that way, you know, breaking barriers. So even Bhaktisiddhanta, he was unconventional in this way. And there's so many stories we can say, but then Bhaktisiddhanta, when he left his body at the end of his life, he had built more than around 64 Gaudiya Maths. So 64 centers all across India, and all with powerful devotees leading them. Powerful devotees. And he was so well respected. I'll say this actually. His father, it's a side point, his father was so well respected. His father was a district magistrate, so a judge of a district. And he was so well respected by the Britishers at the time that were in India, that when he said, I think I'm going to retire now, I'm getting old. The British didn't want, he was so good at his job, The Britishers, to convince him not to retire, they said, we'll build a railway track, a railway station, right on the doorstep of your house, just so you can come to work. And if you go to Mayapur, Navadvip today, Navadvip or Jagannath Puri? Navadvip. And you go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, that's still there, you'll see the railway track is still there. It was built specially so he could get to work. The British did this. This is how much they respected Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta, even more, you know, so well respected, that when he left his body in, where did he leave his body? Where? In Kolkata. He left his body in Kolkata. But his burial, or his samadhi, was meant to be done in Mayapur, the holy place. So his disciples, they managed, because he was so well respected with the Britishers of the time, a whole train, special train, was organized to just transport Bhaktisiddhanta's body to Mayapur. And if you look online, if you go on YouTube, you can see the pictures of the train arriving in Mayapur. There are thousands of people crowded around the train, waiting to see Bhaktisiddhanta, his body and his samadhi ceremony, his funeral ceremony. Thousands. You can't even see the ground. You can't even see a tree. It's just so much people. This is how many lives he touched. Because he was a spiritual powerhouse, you can affect and positively affect this many people. So, the point of the class today is to kind of get inspiration from Bhaktisiddhanta, honor him a little bit. But also at the end of the day, this is just some kind of motivation for us. If we want to make some kind of positive benefit in the world, some kind of positive benefit, we have to be spiritually powerful. Everybody who has ever done anything really good for this world, they have prepared by trying to become spiritually powerful. Srila Prabhupada did it for years in Vrindavan. Every day, chanting, reading, writing, serving the devotees, keeping good association. For years, he was begging all of the teachers in our lineage, please, please, please give me mercy. Give me mercy that I can do something in the spiritual world, in America, in the Western world. Without your mercy, I won't be able to do it. So when you spiritually prepare, you're getting mercy of all of the teachers that came before. All of the teachers that came before. So when we spiritually empower ourselves, we get that mercy. And when we get that mercy, then we can spread it as much as possible. So how to do this? We can take the inspiration and follow in the footsteps of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who spiritually empowered Srila Prabhupada, and from learning from Srila Prabhupada's footsteps, then we can also learn how to become spiritually powerful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shriman Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Anybody has any questions of the philosophy or story? No? Yes? If you look at any of the teachers from before, they were never emotionally weak. If you look at Srila Prabhupada, in the face of adversity, even with such spiritual purity does not make you weak. Never makes you weak. And the emotional spirituality never makes you weak as well. In the face of adversity, you become more well prepared. If you look at Srila Prabhupada's life, he had so much adversity in his life. So much. He had problems with his family life. When the movement started, there were so many people. There was some of the people at the time, they thought the devotees were brainwashing people. Purely because people were joining. And there was lawsuits, and this thing happened, that thing happened. For an emotionally weak person, that would say, all right, finish the movement. It's not working. Spiritual, even Srila Prabhupada, his name was Abhay, no fear. A real spiritual person, even with the emotional path to bhakti, you have no fear. Fear and adverse things. You only become emotional with your relationship with Krishna. But with adversity that comes, that is not from Krishna, you don't become emotional with it. For fear, if we know that Krishna, there's two things actually. Whatever happens in your life, if you are not in control of it, then it's Krishna's doing. And if we recognize that it's Krishna's doing, then we should have full faith that, okay, whatever's happening is happening for the best. And whatever happens in your life that you can change, then change it. So therefore, whatever adversity, whether it's something that you can change or whether that you cannot change, you don't become emotional because you either can change it or you recognize that it's something that is going to benefit you. Maybe you don't even understand what's happening at the moment. Something's happened in your life, some tragedy. But if we understand that, okay, Krishna, I trust you, because we built that relationship with Krishna through bhakti. Krishna, I trust you, whatever's happening, it must be doing something good. Therefore, for whatever adversity there is, whatever type, whatever category of adversity, we don't become emotional about it. We don't get affected by it. Therefore, it doesn't make us weak. Actually, it makes us stronger. So Krishna consciousness, in a sense, in the face of adversity, doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. I don't know if that answers the question. On the face value, it may look. See, there's the modern stereotype for being emotional. It's the material emotional. You're emotional about everything, With a relationship, if you really want to, squeeze the essence of a relationship, you have to be emotional with that person. You have to show your good and you have to show your bad side, With a person, you're usually closest with the people that you can cry around, that you can show your weaknesses around. But when you have a strong relationship with a person, if anything, it makes you stronger because you have a strong relationship with that person. So on face value, it may look, from the stereotype that we have in the modern world, that is weakness. But spiritual emotional aspects makes you stronger. Is that good? Any other questions? Comments? Okay. So now, we're going to have ABC, chanting and dancing. So we can all stand up and we can get ready for some kirtan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare loudly please, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Everyone please, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Loudly please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulanand Radha Gokulanand Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. कलयुग पावन युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रियव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीडी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रियव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर शील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रज भूमि श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पूर्ण पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। गोलोकेर प्रेम धन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। शिल प्रोपा ट्रांसजेंडल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैराथन की जय। श्री प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Gaur Hari Bol.
Namaste Narasimhaya,
Namaste
प्रह्लादलाददाहिने हिरण्यकाशीपूर्वक्षः शीलतङ्कानकालाये इतो नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहो बाहे नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंह अवधिं शरणं प्रपदे तव कर कमलवरे नाकाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृंगा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय नरसिम्हादेव की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्रह्मणि वैष्णवे सर्व पुण्यवतां राजन विश्वासोऽयं विजायते शरीरार विद्याजाल जरेंद्रिय ताहे काल जीवे फैले विषय सागरे तारम अज्जीवाति लोभो माय सुतुर्मति ताके जेठा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ो दयामय कोर बाय जीव जाय स्व प्रसादम दिलो भाई से नामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाको श्री चैतन्यताय जय निमाय जय निताय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Mahaprasadam ki.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Once again, everyone, thank you everyone for coming today for Sunday Feast program. Prasadam is ready now. We'll just go very quickly for the Prasadam. But very important announcement that Balram today, he spoke in his class that all resolutions, they fail because we do not have a weapon and do not have enough motivation. So this Friday, we have arranged a motivation and a weapon for all of you. He also spoke of powerhouse, spiritual powerhouse. So if you want to progress very nicely in 2026, then on Friday, we have a very important devotee, His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj is coming to our temple. Maharaj ki! So many of you know him. He is a very young monk, sannyasi, truly a spiritual powerhouse. And he can definitely, surely he can motivate all of us to progress in our next year of 2026. So Maharaj, are you all happy for this program? Yeah. So this Friday, he'll be coming at 7 o'clock in the temple. And program will start sharp at 7 o'clock. We'll start with the kirtan. And Maharaj will give class. And at the end, Maharaj will have enough time if you want to speak to him personally one-to-one. He'll be here in the temple. So please do come. He is actually in the month of December, he is busy doing book distribution. Even though he is sannyasi, one of his very dear most activity and service to Srila Prabhupada is distributing Srila Prabhupada's book. So in the daytime, from the morning till evening, he'll be doing a book distribution in Stoke-on-Trent. And then he'll be giving us his precious time to us. So I request all of you to please do come on Friday, 7 o'clock. Program will go till about 9 o'clock. Then there's prasadam for everyone. So don't worry about a dinner prasadam. You can bring your whole family here and take prasadam here. So on this Friday, 19th of December, 7 o'clock, we'll be having Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj. So please do come. Do not miss this opportunity. And then comes the New Year. And to have enough strength and enough motivation to progress individually and collectively in our temple as a devotee, we have arranged a New Year Kirtan. Haribol! So on 3rd of January, Saturday, we'll have a Kirtan from 4 o'clock onwards in the temple for 4 hours. 4 to 8, we'll have 4 o'clock. Yeah, 4 to 8. I thought he wants more. So 4 to 8, it is the kirtan. So in this Saturday, we'll just come here, sit down here. Many wonderful singers will be here. They'll be only chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra in various melodious tunes. In the middle somewhere, we'll start dancing also. Or in the middle, if nobody is dancing and you want to dance, just don't worry. Just find a space and dance. So this is the space for all of us here, to attract the grace and mercy of Krishna so that we all progress very nicely in the new year 2026. So this is happening on 3rd of January, Saturday. And this is the advertised program. Now I'll tell you non-advertised program. So after the program, there will be prasadam. And after the prasadam, last time after the prasadam, we had after party kirtan. So those who doesn't want to go home and carry on the kirtan, after the prasadam, come down here. There'll be devotees will be here, and they'll be doing more kirtan. The good part of this kirtan is that there is no end time. Whenever everybody feels tired, then they'll go home. Yeah, so it might be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or next day 4 o'clock in the morning, or the whole of 2026. We don't know, no. So there is no end time for the after party kirtan. So again, two most important programs. 19 December, Keshav Maharaj is coming to our temple, so please do not miss, 7 o'clock in the evening. And on 3rd of January, we'll have the 4-hour kirtan, starting at 4 o'clock in the evening. So once again, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Please make your way for the prasadam upstairs. Oh, tomorrow is Ekadashi, so those who are following Ekadashi fasting, you can follow the fast tomorrow for the Ekadashi. Oh yes, some news from the shop. We do have sufficient quantity of 2026 calendars. We are distributing these calendars free of charge. So you don't have to pay for anything. It is just a gift from temple to all of you. So if you haven't got your copy of your 2026 calendar, please feel free to collect from the shop. And if you take some more copies for your friends and relatives, feel free to take some extra copy as well from the temple. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.